Surprise, motherfucker.
What's up, guys? Spenny. What was the most electric moment of the 2024 election? Hard to make that list. So many iconic moments to choose from. But off the top of my dome, President Trump surviving an assassin's bullet, then triumphantly walking into the RNC convention days later, then returning to where he was nearly killed with Elon Musk doing jumping jacks on stage. Donald Trump driving a garbage truck into a convention rally. Madison Square Garden. Hulk Hogan. Man, how about Donald Trump serving fries, salt in the fries at McDonald's? And a man who didn't approve of that, RFK, joining forces with Donald Trump, the uniting of the only two still standing American political dynasties. The Obamas don't have a dynasty. They're done. Clintons don't have a dynasty. The Kennedys have a dynasty, and the Trumps have a proper dynasty on their hands. And they joined forces in an electric moment, sparking the Maha movement that many would argue won Trump the election, because moms, crunchy moms, conservative moms, families, people that were really conscious about not poisoning their kids, they decided at that moment that Trump would be their man. Pretty special. A lot of Democrats, Kennedy Democrats, they're still out there. They said, let's go. And the messaging was pitch perfect for Kennedy, who said, I want to love my children more than I hate my fellow countrymen.
In this country that we must face honestly. And the first thing I've done every morning for the past 20 years is to get on my knees and pray to God that he would put me in a position to end the chronic disease epidemic and to help America's children. That's why I'm so grateful to President Trump for the opportunity to sit before you today and seek your support and partnership in this endeavor.
Kennedy speaking the language, very reminiscent of his father and uncle, of course, political legends, saying we can unite on the core issue of making a healthier country. Now, RFK was never supposed to be nominated to this position. The haters said that Trump would reject RFK for HHS secretary. It was too politically costly. It might shake the boat a little too much. You know, you got donors. Those donors are big pharma. Those donors own hospitals, right? Don't want to mess with that. They create all the cereal for our children. But President Trump said, screw that. RFK is going to be HHS secretary. Now, they might troll him along the way. Kennedy did get trolled, quite famously here, with McDonald's aboard Trump Force One. I've been in this exact position. We flew back with Trump from a rally, and he served McDonald's just like this. To me, one of the great honors of my life. Look at that. Look at that. The face is perfect. And Kennedy might, in his new position, have gotten what some may call a little bit of a slow start, including having to body the staff at Steak and Shake here.
Up on the screen, they have pre-diabetes.
I didn't order
that. He did not order that. We'll just put it looks great. I'm sure one of our guys. Would anyone like a free shake? Anyone? We got to be somebody in here. But I want to go back. Yeah, you want?
Kennedy saying, get that the hell out of there. And while some have criticized, there's always going to be haters, some have criticized the speed at which Kennedy is working, he's working. And if this is a sign of things to come, the country is going to be changed forever by his tenureship here in charge of America's health. RFK has announced that he's stripping out toxic soup. He's ridding food dyes from the U.S. supply in massive shakeup. RFK launched at the White House, we were actually in attendance last Friday, the Maha initiative in order to cut to the bone chronic disease and illness in this country and establish the gold standard of science. Upon that establishment, RFK has made monster news today by saying, I am officially ending the routine COVID vaccine guidance for children and pregnant women. Well, here we go. Now he's cooking. The CDC currently recommends that everyone aged 6 months and older get vaccinated, which is insane. The Trump administration is backing away from the CDC recommendations to vaccinate children and pregnant women against COVID-19, according to a new report. The Department of Health and Human Services, led by RFK, is planning to pull federal recommendations for these groups to get COVID vaccines as a routine measure, the Wall Street Journal reported. The CDC currently recommends that everyone aged 6 months get vaccinated, but the guidance is to be scrapped in the coming days. It's unclear whether HHS plans to drop the recommendation entirely or simply stop pushing it for everyone across the board. The move would be a major shift in federal health policy and would mark a break from blanket vaccine approach that dominated the early years of the pandemic. Few parents and expectant mothers have followed through on the recent COVID boosters. As of April, CDC data shows that just 13% of children, 14% of pregnant women have received the latest shot. The change comes as the FDA, under the commissioner of Marty Makary, prepares to roll out tougher approval process for vaccines. Speaking Thursday at a gathering for food and drug lawyers, Makary said, "We want to see vaccines that are available for high-risk individuals. At the same time, we want good science. We want good clinical data." Kennedy has long been critical of mRNA vaccines and mass vaccination campaigns. As HHS Secretary, he now has the authority to revise the guidance. The Trump administration plans to drop routine COVID vaccination guidance for kids and pregnant women, marking a major shift in federal policy. That was followed up by this post from Secretary Kennedy. Today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommendations immunizing schedule. Bottom line, it's common sense, it's good science. We are now one step closer to realizing Donald Trump's promise to make America healthy again. Here is the announcement.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary, and I'm here today with NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary. I couldn't be more pleased to announce that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule. Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
That ends today. It's common sense and it's good science.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
We're now one step closer to realizing President Trump's promise to make America healthy again.
Anybody who's been following just the news cycle around these vaccines and about how rushed and how aggressive the campaigns were, how it was like a bullying campaign, effectively. It's like just the most massive psyop and propaganda campaign I've ever seen. And so many people fell for it. I'm not one of them. Luckily, I have a wife who's a nurse, and she's also someone who pays very close attention to the data. And that's now what RFK is doing here, and everyone is celebrating because it's so refreshing to actually see this practiced on a federal level. Wow, great news. Today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children, healthy pregnant women, that's right, nice quotation marks here, correct, has been removed from the CDC immunization schedule. Today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children been removed, recommended immunization schedule. Common sense is making a comeback in America. RFK and CDC have officially removed it. Very good. And a lot of people sounding off and saying, this is the time. This is a move that could alter guidance for doctors as well as some insurance coverage. So that's going to be the big question, right? If it's not paid for, it's not going to happen. RFK Jr. removing for healthy children and pregnant women. Huge for MAHA. Keep going. In the state of Florida, they've added warning guidance for healthy young men for this vaccine as well. Perhaps that's next. This is a great first step. Millions of children will now be spared from known and unknown side effects of the COVID shots. CDC and FDA have been using your tax dollars to be liability-free, science-ignoring, fact-free market agents for vaccine manufacturers. This is Thomas Massie knocking it out of the park. This is something that was constantly talked about at the White House event that we were at with RFK, the MAGA initiative, where he was talking about the gold standard of science. And RFK now delivering on that gold standard of science, in spite of getting trolled by everyone in the Trump administration, in bringing back true science to vaccine scheduling and manufacturing. This is a very, very good thing for you and me and for all of our children. You should clearly have placebo testing for vaccines. This is quite obvious if you know anything about the scientific method. Inert placebos, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump endorsing it. RFK going on NBC News to talk about it and to describe the horrors of the modern scientific method for vaccine approval, which, again, is insane. Here we go.
I get that. You've been a crusader for medical freedom, and you've questioned the use and the safety of vaccines in the past. And yet, in this report, some of the language over vaccines seems to be measured, right? You essentially are just asking to study it more. I'm wondering if your stance on vaccines has evolved.
No, that's always been my position. What's evolved is how the press covers it. The press, particularly this network, has mischaracterized my position for 20 years. I've always said what we need to do, the vaccines that are currently on the schedule, which has now required 77 shots between in utero till 18 years of age. Only one of those, the COVID vaccine, has ever been tested in pre-licensing studies against an inert placebo. That's not science. We need clinical trials that are based upon real science that allows parents and physicians to know the risk profiles of these products and then make good choices.
Mr. Secretary, experts say that what you're just saying is not true, that they have been tested. Even Senator Cassidy, who's a Republican, has come out and corrected you on the record when it comes to those examinations. Do you understand that? Do you believe that?
And the day after Senator Cassidy said that, I sent him the clinical trial data that shows that he was wrong, and I can show that to anybody. In their own manufacturer's inserts, the vaccine companies admit there were no clinical trials that used an inert placebo for any vaccine except for the COVID vaccine. Oh, that's not science. It's morally wrong. We need to know what the risk profile is of these products and the benefits, and allow parents and physicians to make good choices for public health.